Hello and welcome. I have been gone for a long while, but now I am back. Um, with this video, I want to talk about some of the start positions and what my thoughts are because I got a feeling like a lot of people are misinterpreting what is happening here. And this includes people with early access because there is a faction that I just saw a video on that absolutely is just no, there's no way unless they completely rework their speed, everything, they're gonna die. You're gonna lose stuff every single time. You're gonna constantly be losing. You're gonna be constantly not taking settlements unless you do some really cheesy shit. And they're effectively nerf it Warhammer 3. But before we get to those guys, let's talk about what's going on here. So first off, I want to talk about is what the community has already basically stated is we got the Southland Bowl here, which I'll get to, and we have a Luthanar who is in a major settlement for the Dark Elves. Makes sense, he's in Dark Elf lands, but why is he here? Why is he directly here in a major settlement of a slave port? Makes zero sense. Move him to the Granite Hills or the Clawed Coast. And if you go and tell me well, they don't want to place them too close together. These two guys are literally a province apart. These two are a province apart. These two are a province apart. These two are like a province apart. Like these two are pretty darn close, except for there's a mountain way in the way. Like there is factions here. Like Crocar, not Crocar. I forget what his name is. The dwarves and these lizardmen are right next to each other. These guys are fairly close. These guys are fairly close. These guys are fairly close. There's a lot of factions around here that are very close together that will be fighting each other immediately. And if you're gonna tell me that these lizardmen are not probably gonna fight the dwarves, then they're gonna go up north and fight these freaking Tomb King. I'll get to the Southlands. Let's ignore the Southlands right now. There's a bit about that. So first off, we're gonna continue talking about is Dark Elf Land. Dark Elf Land, I am okay with, in most part, except for Luthanar having a major settlement owned by the Dark Elves. If you want to give him a major settlement, there's Granite Hills right next there. There's the Clawed Coast. Make more sense that the Clawed Coast has him. Just saying, and making that port right there, a major settlement. Just my opinion. I mean, I don't know lore or whatever. I don't give a shit. Gameplay perspective, doesn't make sense why you're giving him a Dark Elf important city. Also, that throws out two mechanics, which is our Dark Elf boy there and our Dark Elf boy here, Lokir Felhart. I remember him. I don't remember him. He's Beast Boy, basically. These two guys lose that settlement. Because unless they can if they can still confederate that settlement, that means Luthanar, you can just annihilate him from the game. Which is insanity. Which they won't do. Making it sense that it's gone. I guess you can use that to get out of Dark Elf Land. That's their thought process, but I do not agree with it. Again, I do not agree with it. Just because you gave them an out, you'd be like, oh, use an out, doesn't mean that these guys are gonna be not a problem. Then again, CA doesn't like fun, and what would be fun is being able to confederate that Dark Elf there, Dark Elves here, and other major faction Dark Elves, but whatever. It's a little bit interesting that they have the Sea Siren girl in Dark Elf Land. They moved her up to Dark Elf Lands. She was like near Hexawaddle. But now the Sirens are up there, which makes sense. It changes up the gameplay a little bit. But my question is are they going to be in conflict instantly with Dark Elves? Which is most likely the chance. And if so, doesn't that just mean High Elves are going to like her? Or is she going to be at war with the High Elves, making the Dark Elves like her? I don't play her much, so I do not know. But I don't feel like the relations are going to change that much coming from 2 to 3. In all honesty. So, that's my opinion there. I'm fine with Grumble being there. He'll be a nice ally for the Tomb Kings here. Other than him being stuck between a rock and a hard place between Beastmen, Dark Elves, Orcs, and the Wood Elves, because literally everyone just hates each other there. If you become friends with the Wood Elves don't do enough, then they end up getting probably pushed, and they can't help you a lot with the Dark Elves. But if you make friends with the Dark Elves, the Wood Elves will come and beat your little puny butt. So it's nice that Brundle got sent there. So I agree with that. That makes sense. Other than that, everything makes sense. I want to make a note that probably some people haven't mentioned, that if you haven't realized, as we move down to Lustria, this is the Vortex campaign map. This is Vortex campaign map extended. With maybe the Southlands being more like it's like Warhammer 2's Immortal Empires was. So just note that like this area has changed. Like past the donut has changed. So it is more towards Mortal Empires. But it is just generally Vortex campaign map. If we go to Lustria, Hexawaddle's in the same spot, makes sense. Hexawaddle could bugger out and head over to Cathay for some reason. I actually don't mind how it's set up in Lustria. Lustria makes sense. I kind of find it weird that we're getting a Bretonnian Lord. Just a little bit. Doesn't make sense that we're getting a Bretonnian Lord in Lustria, but I don't mind a Bretonnian Lord in Lustria. It's a change of gameplay for Bretonnians. So having a Bretonnian there, don't really care. It's fine. Now we're gonna go back up here to the Chaos Waste. Boris of Kislev. Not Boris Todbringer. I know everyone's thinking Boris Todbringer right there. Boris of the Kislevs. I do not agree him being there. Unless he has where he has green territory with Chaos Waste, he's gonna die. He's gonna straight up die because this is all supposed to be red territory and all be Chaos Waste. Because if it's not, then then why was it in the race for the bear in 3? It doesn't make any sense because Skull Road, Kadath, Blood Marshes, Bloodfell Falls, I'm pretty sure all of these were Chaos Waste. So unless he has that, he's gonna die straight up. And this is me talking about maybe from the player's perspective, but also from the AI's perspective. I do not think he's going to survive long up there. He's going to die, and that means immediately Kislev cannot confederate another really cool lord, as they could in the campaign map. Which means, basically, hey, guess what? If you don't play him, you're going to lose him. I don't agree with that. because I'm one of the people who likes to confederate all the legendary lords. They put, and now I'm going to continue because there's just so much to cover. They put Sigvald over here near the Dark Elves. Supposedly he can be switched off to the Slanesh, I heard rumors of. Which, okay, I guess, but whatever. We also have a Dark Elf up here. That makes 0 sense. I don't... Malice is up here for whatever reason. He's... I don't agree with it. And Legions of Chaos are up here, makes sense. Again, Malice, unless he has immunities or Chaos Waste, basically allowing him to settle everywhere in the Chaos Waste, he's gonna get fucked. Regular Warriors of Chaos. And if we, I mean, right next to Grimgor is Collect Sun Eater. So I'm okay with this. Hopefully Collect Sun Eater and Grimgor are at war with each other. And hopefully AI Collect can 50% of the time kill Grimgor. Because if not, Grimgor is just going to end up being the end game boss like he is in like 80 to 90% of the games I have played. He's always the end game boss. He's always the biggest threat. Like Chaos armies, nah, that's not even a problem. Grimgor is a problem. Grimgor is so big. Grimgor is just disgustingly huge. He's super strong. But then again, depending on how many orcs are up in this territory, if there's like none, Grimgor is no longer be a problem. But I'm pretty sure over here in the Badlands that Warzog, the Grand Prophet, I believe it is, with the bloody hands, he's going to become the new superpower. He's going to destroy everything because dwarves won't be able to do stuff. Dwarves will just die. And dwarves actually touch on the problem that's going to be in Warhammer 3 now, which wasn't really a problem, but now is a problem. And it's the same problem that Nurgle just generally has. And we'll get into that. But other than that, we have a big old zone for Chaos Dwarves to come in and other factions. So there's a lot of room here in this central landscape of mountains. Now let's head over to the Empire area. I got no complaints. Honestly, Beastmen getting switched over where Care One Eye is in the Empire now, and Mulgur, the Fell Omen, is he the Fell Omen? I can't remember. Who used to start there, is now in Estalia, so he can go up to fight Bretonnia and the Wood Elves, which I actually prefer him being there. I have no problems with this area. Everything's fine. My big problems is in the Southlands, actually. Everywhere else, I really don't have any problems with. Old Man Nakai is the Wanderer is lost. Him being there makes 0 sense because honestly, him being there does nothing, considering there is 1 and 2 paths that you can just go and take, and you're there in the freaking, you're going to fight Cathay. Like these sea paths, I'm okay with. They make sense. Well, I don't think Nakai should be over here. It doesn't make any sense he's over here. It allows him a lot of room to grow, I guess. So that means he can allows him to grow, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna get people spawned in here. Like Cathay's barren, this middle way is barren. So I think we're gonna get a lot more lords in this area. Maybe some in Lustria. So everyone's position I'm fine with. I'm glad Clyde and Rictus got moved. Like, I'm jumping all over the place, but like I have no problems with anything here. Now let's get to the Southlands. Now let's get to the less ranty part. Tzeentch. Tzeentch, I'm not sure if I want him here. I would rather him start off in one of these Chaos Wastes, Southern Chaos Wastes areas, instead of here on the mainland. Because if he starts here on the mainland, he's gonna have to fight. He has a bunch of enemies between him and his next friend, Khorne. And even then, Khorne probably doesn't like you. He won't even like you. Now, I've heard a lot of people that's like, oh, take Tzeentch, go south. Well, then you're gonna have to defeat with this lizard man. I forget what he's called. Tohanawin? No, that's the Cult of Soltec. The Anti-Chaos Lizard Man. I forget what they're called. Anyways, these guys, you're gonna have to fight. And if you fight them, you're most likely going to meet the Cult of Soltec. If you meet the Cult of Soltec, you're going to have to go up into Soltec's lands and fight Soltec. And then you're going to end up meeting Skaven and other Lizardmen and other factions, and you're going to have to then take Lustria. While having guys at your back door basically coming down and fight you. So, right off the bat, you need 2 armies. And we all know, on any difficulty, you cannot support 2 armies right off the bat. You need time to grow. Now, if you had the entire Southlands, Southern Chaos Waste, and like this little peninsula that you kind of start on, maybe. I can see you can afford 2 armies. But by then, you should probably have 3 or 4 armies coming out. You need to have more armies. So, in reality, I don't think this is a good thing, him starting there. But then again, I could be completely wrong. I just don't think... I don't know. His path is like very mysterious, and we will see. It's just very dependent on how everything works. Because if you don't forget, when we get the beta finally, we will also get 4 new lords, which will be placed somewhere on this map, and everyone's consensus is it's chaos. So we're getting 4 chaos lords, 1 for each faction. Which means there's probably going to be 1 up here above the Dark Elves. There's probably going to be 1 in the South Chaos Lands. Or there could be 2 in the South Chaos Lands. Who knows? But the thing is that there is plenty of room on this map in the Chaos Wastes that they can go, both south and north. So I'm unsure whether or not it's a good thing to rejoice right now. I don't agree with most of it. Here comes the most contentious thing. Khorne in right next to Khemri, Claymores, a Beastman, and basically having such a fruitful land of fighting. People have mentioned, and I've seen it, and I read some of their opinions, that we are over-evaluating how strong Khorne is. Meanwhile, I would say, yes, we probably are. Because the AI playing Khorne probably won't do that good. The human player would do easy. It's super easy to do this. No problem. There is a few things you're forgetting. I just like to say. Everyone's forgetting this. And people are saying like, oh, Tomb Kings are not going to have a problem because they will have chariots against Khorne units. I don't think... You only can recruit max of 2 chariots, and this includes with chariots you start off with as Tomb Kings, if you don't realize this. You only can get 2. I don't think 2 archer chariots are going to be able to take on kill a single unit of Chaos Warriors. These are the armored versions. They maybe kill a single unit of bloodletters, maybe 2, but they're not going to kill the entire army. You're not going to have 2 kill an entire army. It's impossible. So where is your army going to be filled with? Skeleton spearmen. Yeah, you don't start off with more than 1 army. Khemri's fault. And people are like, oh, it's going to be fine. Khorne, you playing as Khemri, because Khorne is going to be friendly because you're neutral. False. Every single faction, even if you're neutral, it just doesn't mean you start off war with the Chaos factions, which I find it unlikely the Tomb Kings will start off war with. They won't start off war with Khorne, but they probably will not be at war. Anyways, Khemri, if they want to be allies with the Good Order factions, which is mostly stuff around them, they are going to have to be at war with Khorne. If they're not at war with Khorne, they're going to be at war with every other faction. There's 2 factions here that will completely just, like, they are surrounded by enemies. Khemri is surrounded by enemies. The other 3 Tomb Kings factions are less so, and they have much more manageable stuff. Now, Khorne, not the AI not knowing how to play Khorne. I say this is false because we only have how Khorne plays in Race for the Bear, which honestly, unless you know what you are doing or you've watched someone else do this, you can fumble really easily Khorne's start in Race for the Bear. Super easily. Which means the AI doesn't do much better. The AI doesn't start off with the entire province. He starts off war with another Khorne faction, which you have Khorne versus Khorne punching each other. They start off war with Slaanesh, which is just a little bit south of them. Not the main Slaanesh faction, side Slaanesh faction. So, of course it does poorly. It doesn't have a single enemy. Its beginning area isn't that great. It is kind of shit, in all opinion. Unless you know how to start off with, you as Khorne in Race for the Bear you will flounder around for the first like 10-20 turns if you don't know what you're doing, and you won't be like boom 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 boom. And basically, yeah, no, you will struggle. I played a Khorne campaign. I sort of struggled at the beginning, but I only recruited bloodletters. I will tell you what, on easy and normal difficulty, bloodletters auto-resolve so good. Now, here's the thing. Bloodletters and auto-resolve are better for the AI, unless you're playing easy, because there is anti-player bias in auto-resolve. So AIs get auto-resolve. Cheats. So bloodletters, a full stack of bloodletters, are able to auto-resolve through everything on normal difficulty with no problem. There's no question, since the AI auto-resolves everything, Khorne is going to be alright in this location. They might struggle against orcs, because savage orcs will probably be viewed higher, but considering that most Khorne stuff, except for the Chaos Warriors, have magic attack and flaming, that's not going to be a problem. Let's head back to Khemri. Khemri, either way, I think Khorne is going to be really strong. And if Khorne is really strong, you're in trouble. Khorne is probably going to go to war with Moors and other factions. And this is where also people say, like, oh, you're safe from Khorne because Khorne is going to be stretched so thin. Everyone underestimates anti-player bias. You are completely ignoring anti-player bias. anti-player bias will have Khorne take all of his armies and run straight to you and forgets all of his enemies in his backdooring him. Like, that's straight up what the AIs do. Did you not understand that? AI will throw armies at you endlessly just because, and they don't care whatever other factions are doing, because they don't fight other factions when a player is in front of them. Me and my friend are playing an ogre campaign, and I had Oslin declare war on me. He took fucking 8 armies and he sent them straight at me. Took them from where they were winning their wars and came straight at me. They were almost done with the Warriors of Chaos. They were almost done with everything, and they came straight for me. That was a hard difficulty. You cannot tell me on most difficulties Khorne will not descend all of your armories if you get declared war on because of Khemri. He's probably gonna have an anti-player bias. He's probably gonna hit you right off the bat as soon as you meet him. And if you don't believe me, and if he doesn't, there's a chance he could get a trait. This was in Warhammer 2. Pretty sure they haven't taken it out. That in Warhammer 2, he can get a trait that gives him -20 off the bat before he meets anyone. Every faction could get -20 to them and hate you. That doesn't offset the fact that they will have a tolerance. That will offset the tolerance that they have for you, meaning they will start at 0, meaning that they will hate your guts, meaning, guess what? You're probably gonna get declared war on if he doesn't have already a disposition. If he starts at 0, he's probably gonna start off at 0. And if he starts off at 0, guess what? He gets that -20. You're fucked. You better go to war with him. Oh, well, wait a minute. Volkmar the Grim gets also that -20. Oh, Rapans gets that -22 to you. Oh, shit. They got the traits. You're fucked. Now, Khemri has a problem, which just straight up isn't anything around him. This is just all Tomb Kings. And this is why Tomb King's not near anybody really and can like just spread out is good. Khemri's kind of fucked in that. Is that skeletons are going to be shit units. They're literally Nurgle units. And this comes into vampire counts. Vampire counts are going to die. They're straight up going to die. There's nothing you can do about it. They're just going to lose. And I've seen Zorkovic's video on that vampires counts are getting updated with more health and more leadership, which I agree with the leadership, but there is one problem with that, and this is a big problem. Most of the battles are going to be minor settlements and major settlements. Even if they fix it so that's 50-50 feud battles, vampire counts cannot succeed in minor settlements. They will be slow as Nurgle. You're going to take a lot of losses, and you're not going to survive that much. Now, I can hear people screaming at me, being like, well, that's what the Rise Dead mechanic is for, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, that blah, blah, blah was me. Weird. And I agree with them, but the problem is that it costs money to do. And vampire counts are known to not be economically savvy faction, which is why skeleton spam in 2 was such a big deal. And if you're gonna say, well, I saw Zorkovic's video and they showed off the regeneration thing. They stacked 4 regeneration stuff on Graveguard, and they fucking could just fight through stuff. Cool. You want to know what they showed? Was Graveguard. Was the special unit of Graveguard that has regeneration. So that's one. Regular Graveguard don't have that, so take that out. And they have stacked up like 3 other regeneration things. One being Heinrich Himmler's Special Blade, which, unless you play Heinrich Himmler, you're not really gonna get. Second is the carriage. Yeah, it works. Cool. That's not gonna heal them fast enough. And I can tell you for a fact it's not gonna heal them fast enough. Because watch Zorkevich's video. He straight up shows that it is impossible for them to survive. Why? Meanwhile, while the special guard were surviving, the regular grave guard, I just want people to watch and see that it doesn't work. It does straight up not work. And I don't know why people believe it's gonna work. I honestly don't. Because, honestly, here's the thing. Watch this. See, there's the regular Graveguard unit. He has the special Sternman unit. There's nothing. Look how they're dying. They're dying. They broke. These guys aren't dying. Everyone's being like, awesome, this is amazing. Look at the Stearnsman go, regeneration up the wazoo. You're joking, right? No, this is what you're gonna get. These grave guards who are dying is what you're gonna get. You also have to remember the Stearnsman has 9 tiers of levels. That's a regular graves guard right there fighting all of this. This is what you're gonna get, not this. Also, you have Hemlet Kremler helping out. Also, I will straight up say, look how much damage these guys have done. This is barely any damage. And of course, Zorkevich cuts to this. Look how much damage they do. And we're just gonna real quick go to these comments. Right here. I like the healing changes. It makes it feel like undead are invincible as long as one's controlling them are alive. Plus, it will open up different magic factions instead of that hex spam all campaign. You, sir, are wrong. I don't think, even with this update, that vampire... I don't even think with this update that vampires really are that great. I don't. Like, it's nice, the leadership and all that. That would have been amazing for 2. That will make them fine for 2. But people are forgetting one essential thing. Magic rework has changed. The main way you play vampires in most cases, if you want to be economically smart, is do skeleton spams and skeleton balls. Zorkevich has mentioned, oh, you just do a big ball, and now ball is sort of the thing. That was always a thing. Using the heck wasn't the goal. That was early game. That was really early game to keep things alive, and then that was end battle thing. But you did Wind of Death. You rushed Wind of Death as vampire counts, so that you can be in a ball and then Wind of Death all the enemies away. Guess what? With the magic changes, magic's capped at 100. So most of the time, you're not going to have enough magic to Wind of Death enough enemies away, and also deal enough damage and heal up your units. Which means you're going to be raising the dead more, but there's a problem with Raise the Dead. Raise the Dead is random chance. It's random what units you can get from those piles. One person who's killed, let's say, 5,000 enemies can get a Draco Lich in them, in that pile. And that Draco Lich will keep respawning. Another person can get maybe some Crypt Ghouls, and that's it. Now someone's going to tell me like, well, that's not how it works. That's how it works. That's happened to me. I've killed so many enemies in a single area that I've only gotten, the highest tier unit I've gotten is Crypt Ghouls. And I've killed 10,000 men. And I get shit. Meanwhile, the AI does it, they get freaking a ton. And this comes into the next thing. If your regular army isn't going to be filled with knights and chariots and super fast units, what are you going to have? Or monstrous units? Hold on. You're going to have skeletons, which are slow as frick. Even Graveguard aren't that much faster, which means you get equivalent of Nurgle units with not Nurgle resistances, with not Nurgle health. Oh fuck, you're gonna die during minor settlement battles. Imagine the speed of Nurgle, but half the health and no resistances. Towers and units are gonna destroy you. The big problem is that flying units can't cap things. So, even if you had knights and monstrous units, half your monstrous units can fly. They can't cap points. Flying units cannot cap points no matter what you do. How do I know this? Mao Ying and Zhao Ming can't cap points. They can't. Even in their human form, they can't cap points because they're considered flying units. And CA needs to change that if they're that it only can be capped with a landed unit. It's super easy code. It's literally type in line, can cap if landed. Check if landed, good. But then again, they'll probably break something else. In any case, vampires, until that code basically gets in place, they're fucked. They are too slow, they don't have enough forces. They can have cheap forces, but that's going to take them 10, 20 turns to get that research done. Which means by then, they're not going to have that big of a sprawl. Their minor settlements around them are going to literally obliterate half your forces, which means half your money is going into building up a force again. There is so much, like, the change to leadership is nice, needed into. Here, it's not good enough. The changes to most of the stuff that they're doing, not good enough. Absolutely not good enough. They're made banshees. All ethereal units, they changed them so that they get less physical resistance, but more HP. Because magical attacks will just straight up ruin them. Because they no longer can, because half the factions have magical attack now. And magic resist no longer negates that. Meaning, hey, guess what? You have ethereal units, you're just gonna be fucking boned. Like, even still, they're gonna be destroyed. Because magic goes through it. And they're getting like 25 health per entity. That's not much considering I think a bloodletter can deal like 40 damage or more. And speaking about Khorne, they're going to increase that highly. They're going to deal more damage. They got a good amount of damage on them, and they're magical, and they're fire. Guess what most undead are weak to? Yeah, fire. I checked recently, constructs, luckily for Tomb Kings, are not weak to fire. Meaning, constructs, for the most part, are going to be the counter. Tomb Kings are going to be fine late game, because they're always good late game. Because of their constructs. Vampire accounts have nothing. They maybe have monstrous units, but even then, that's way too long to get monstrous units. And they're going to be expensive. Vampire accounts don't have a good economy, which is why skeleton spam was a thing, and you only had to spend money on lords and buildings. Their buildings are way too expensive. Their units are way too expensive. They're also raising the cost of their units. That's right. Sochivich said that they're raising the cost of the units. Vampire accounts, everyone's like, oh, vampire accounts are going to be in a good spot. vampire accounts are going to be in a worse spot. They're going to be in a worse spot. Do you understand this? They're not in a good spot because of the minor settlements and major settlements. I know I said that they're not in a good spot 3 times. It's just to emphasize. People do not understand this. And I know I'm repeating myself a lot. And I saw a comment on one of my videos saying, like, oh, you repeat yourself so much. You know what? I say it for emphasis. Like, do you understand? Do you get it through your head? Most of the community does not understand this. That place vampire counts in a minor settlement battle with basic infantry. Can they win? Maybe at full force. Because they have enough bodies. But how likely is that to happen? Turn 5. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. How likely is it that you're going to be able to get 5 settlements? I say 5 settlements because in 5 turns, you should have probably about 5 settlements. If you're going crazy and you're expanding fast. Very unlikely. It doesn't matter who you are, you're not going to have 5 settlements. You're going to be dead. You're going to be dying. You're going to be gasping for air. Before, I really don't think vampire accounts are going to succeed. I do not. I absolutely do not. I think they're going to struggle. My biggest worry is that Khorne is going to eat more. Going to probably eat the Beastmen. Unlikely, but they're going to eat basically everyone around them. They're the new Grimgor. People will say like that they don't play Khorne well. I think they do. I think the AI does play Khorne well. As well as like a person playing normal, usually. Who's first time playing Khorne. They'll flounder at the beginning of the regular campaign. It's super easy too. But in Immortal Empires, it's going to do fine. Because there's going to be settlements around there right for the taking. And once he kills his initial enemies, and you're Khemri, he's going to turn his eyes to you. Because anti-player bias is a bitch. And it's worse than this in 3. It's worse than 3. That's my stuff. I mostly made this because I got sick and tired of people being like, oh, Undead so good. Khemri's so good. He'd be fine. Do you not understand, like, minor settlements is a thing? Do you not understand anti-player bias is a thing? That's all that is. It's anti-player bias. Like, it's the biggest enemy for most of these factions. I'm pretty sure you're not gonna have a great time playing in the Southlands. Unless you're Mogr or Khorne. Everyone else is probably gonna be having a rough time. Anyways, I know I haven't talked about the donut because what's there to say about the donut? The donut's the donut. But other than that, yeah, no, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm tired of, like... I came back because I got sick of seeing people being like, oh, everything's good. Do you understand? No, everything's not good. Khorne shouldn't be in the Southlands. He should not. He's way too close between 3 major chaos factions. Nurgle is here, Tzeentch's here, and Khorne is right in the middle here. He should be out of there. He should be in these big ol' empty space up here. I know thematically it makes sense why he's there, but no, he shouldn't be there. Hey, CA, go with your original video, teaser for Warhammer 3.
Put Khorne up here with Kislev. Have them face Kislev. That makes more sense. Or the Skull Road. Somewhere else. Anyways, this has been me. See you guys later. Bye-bye.